say, I gave him no direction really. He said, what do you want me to talk about? I said, anything you say will be interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think all of you know Dan. If not, you can tell me, I'm sure you'll tell a little bit about your background.
My name's Dan Burch. I'm ex-military. I was stationed over in Germany for 15 years. Been around the world a couple of times, 14 different countries. And this is where I started photography. I started back in 1977, just a little interest in everything, and it just kept expanding. I came from a dark room. I learned from an old photo master, and he was like 87 years old guy, Germany, and we called him Pops. I never knew Pop's real name. Soldiers sort of give people names, and that's what you stick with, and that's all you ever know. And here it is, all of these years later, almost 60 years later, I have no clue what Pop's real name is. I'm quite sure he's not with us anymore, but I learned a lot from him. You know, I started off with black and white. I started off with 35 millimeter because he said, hey, you gotta start off with 35 millimeter, but you're only gonna do black and white. He said you're gonna do black and white until you know everything about it. So initially I didn't think anything about it because, hey, it's just black and white, it's just two colors. But what I didn't know about, okay, in order to make a picture to have that range that you're looking for, you have to use color filters, a yellow filter, a red filter, a green filter. And it told you how the tones would come out in the photographs and everything. It was confusing at first. It was really, really confusing at first, but it took me about 9 months before I mastered it. And then he said, okay, you're gonna learn how to do Dia. And Dia in German is slides. And a lot of people thinking all you gotta do is just shoot slides, right? Here's what slides are. Slides are very, very difficult to shoot. Anybody that's ever shot it, you either got it just right, too bright, or too dark. There is no in between. Color negatives have latitude. You can be off by 2 stops, either direction, and you'll still be good. You can still get a good printable photograph. Slides, it's not like that. You're either gonna have it right, or you're gonna have it wrong. There is no in between. And at the time, printing pictures from slides is a total different process than printing from negatives. Because your whole mindset, you gotta reverse everything that you learned in the dark room for printing negatives to printing slides. It's totally different. It's called Zebrachrome. But Zebrachrome was one of the most expensive processes out there. An 8x10 back in 30, 40 years ago might cost you $25. And that was pretty expensive for one print. That was expensive chemicals, so you didn't want to just go out there and just shoot any old thing and then go out there and waste all this money to try to print it out and everything. So it's like, okay, I gotta get this right. I gotta get this right. So a lot of times I would bracket. That's where I shot it where I thought it should be, then I would shoot it a stop under, and then I shoot it a stop over. And then I know I at least got one of those shots out of the 3, it's gonna be perfect. And for a long time I bracketed. And for a long time I was wasting money. Pops didn't like that. So Pops introduced me to a light meter. And it was called a Gosen Luna Pro. It's an old German light meter. And I'm like, okay. He showed me how to use it. He said the light falling on it, that's what it's gonna measure. You shoot it, it's gonna be perfect. I bought my first light meter. I went out, went to this viewer, really beautiful. It's a big giant Larabit they call First Zircon. It was maybe 5, 6 acres, a big giant labyrinth with all of these bushes and statues, and it was beautiful. And here it is, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I gonna shoot this? How am I gonna get it right? And then I had a model there that I'm shooting. Then all of a sudden, all these Japanese buses roll up. All these Japanese with their Leica cameras coming out, and they're talking all these different languages, and I'm like, okay, I understand German, but I don't understand Japanese. I'm in Germany now. But I learned. I didn't crush under pressure or anything. I learned how to use this light meter. Everything came out perfect. Here it is, we're in the digital world right now. I'm probably one of the only people in all of Dyer County that still use a light meter. I still use a light meter because it can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with it. A lot of people depend on software to make corrections on their photographs and stuff. Here it is. I've been doing pictures from the late Dick Flowers collection. Dick Flowers shot 4x5 film. He shot 5x7 film. He shot 8x10 film. He has like 60, 70 years of negatives of Dyersburg. 60, 70 years of Dyersburg, just, and the surrounding towns here, Halls, Gates, New Bern, Trimble, all of these different places and stuff. And I'm gonna pass around some of these old photographs, and it can look like they weren't taken 50, 60 years ago, but they were. This is Mr. Punkin Proud, John Proud. A lot of you probably knew him. Geraldine Flores. He was 24 years old. This is from World War II. He had this little wallet photograph that he had in his wallet. It had probably been in his wallet forever. And he said, hey, Dan, could you help me? Give me a good picture. And I fixed it up for him. This is my father-in-law from World War II. He's 98 years old right today. He had same little picture, little photograph, and he said, hey, look, could you fix this up for me? And he said, I was maybe 19, 20 years old.
What's his name?
Reverend William Hobson.
Okay, I thought so.
And he's in the bridge in Ridgely and assisted living facility right now. He's 98 years old. And there's a story behind this photograph. He said, could you fix this photograph for me? Could you restore it for me? So here it is. I went through all of these different processes. He gave me this picture in 1978. I remember 1978 because I was stationed up in Chicago, a place called Fort Sheridan. And I was in my infancy learning how to do photography and everything. So I bought me what you call a micro lens. And I made a negative of that photograph because it was black and white. And I made a negative of it. Then I printed a picture on some fiber paper. And then I touched up all of this here on that 8x10 print that I made. Then I took a picture of the 8x10. So now I got another negative that's got all of the touch-up work already done on it. Then I printed another picture. But here's what happened. Every 3 years, technology kept moving and everything. So I would take that one picture and I would redo it because I got new technology now. And every 3 years, the picture got better, picture kept getting better. Then along come Photoshop. I'm like, okay. And I started in Photoshop a little late. I started with Photoshop version 2. They're on Photoshop version 25 right now. I started with version 2. So I missed the first version of it. And each year it got better. And each year I kept changing it. And each year I would continue to mess around with it till I fixed it to my satisfaction. Because here it was, every 3 years I would give him another picture of himself. He was happy. He didn't care because he was happy. But I wasn't happy, so I would continue to make changes on it. A bunch of this stuff here, like these here are 120 negatives right here. You got 3 frames in each one of these here. These negatives right here that I got, they're 50 years old, that I shot 50 years ago. All of these here, I shot 50 years ago. The negatives here, the 35 millimeter ones, are of my kids. My oldest son will be 39 years old. He's like 2 years old in this. I stored all of my negatives. And I'm quite sure a whole bunch of y'all got negatives out there too. Those negatives can create these quality images. All you gotta do is get digital files made of those negatives. Anybody thinking, okay, I just got an old 35 millimeter camera, there's a whole lot of things out there right now that can assist you in getting what you need and everything right now. The digital world has turned us into an instant gratification type society and everything. Everybody wants it now. But what I've learned is being patient and learning the skills and figure out how it works, why it works, what's the downfall, what's the uptick on it. I learn it in and out before I even go out there, because I got offered a job in Germany before I retired, and it was for a community photographer for the Department of the Army. And they said, can you do this job? And me being one of those that don't like challenges and everything, I said, sure, I can do it. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't really do it. But here's what I did. I went and locked myself in that dark room for 3 days. I went through everything in there. I figured out how it all worked. I figured out what was the good parts, what was the bad parts, what I could do, what I couldn't do. I figured out everything in there. And I ran that lab for 5 years. 5 years off of a challenge. And I thought that was one of my first challenges, but it really wasn't. My first challenge was when I was stationed in Chicago at Fort Sheridan. I was asked to shoot a wedding just because I like taking pictures. They asked me, could I do it? And I'm like, don't know. I really didn't know. But I took the challenge. They say, look, we're gonna give you $150 to shoot this wedding. So back in 1978, $150 was good money. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out and shoot this wedding. It was on Lakeshore Drive, out on the beach and everything, and I shot it, and it came out okay. I made the $150, and they give me a $50 tip. So I'm like, okay, I think I could do this. And it stuck with me forever. I learned a lot once I left Chicago and went to Germany. I didn't know what a medium format camera was. That's one of those cameras, you know, twin lens. You look down in it and everything is reversed. So I had to get used to if I'm moving right, I'm moving left, and if I'm moving left, I'm moving right. And I mastered it. I bought old antique cameras in Germany that was made in the 1940s, 1950s. And they're still good today. They still shoot great pictures. Old stuff never dies. They don't have batteries. They're all mechanical. The whole science behind these cameras, it never dies. A lot of you guys got negatives out there that has a lot of life left in them. A lot of life left in those photographs. You'll be really surprised on what you can and can't do with negatives. Negatives got a lot of latitude in it. It doesn't have to be shot perfect the way a lot of the other stuff is. You can get a lot of information out of negatives. The bigger the negative is, the more information you got in it. The bigger the negative is, the bigger you can print the photograph. And that's why back in the day, bigger was better, but that's not true anymore now because digital has come along. When digital first came along, they had what you call an APS sensor. It was a little sensor in there. Now they got the full 35 millimeter negative frame cameras called the FX, which is full frame. Full frame, you can make big pictures just like those big banners up there, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna show every detail that you want on it. I mean, this one here is my 82-year-old stepfather that died last year. We just had his funeral last year. This is done in my studio, and he was really in bad pain and everything, but he had never had photograph taken because he didn't like taking pictures. He just didn't like taking pictures. But I had my sister bring him up. He came in, he took a picture, and he sat there, and I said, hey, just have a seat, because I'm gonna have it ready for you in a few minutes. And he sat there, and all he did was smile. And he's happy. He said, okay, that's the picture I want y'all to use on my obituary when I'm gone. And he died 2 weeks later. And it's like, okay, I captured his soul that day. It's like, I did what I was supposed to do that day for him. You know, and it's a lot of people, it's like that. It's like Punk and Proud. You know, he would come to my shop on Saturdays. And he would come there and tell me stories about his experience in World War II. He had a lot of trauma going on with himself, but he would come and say, hey, look, Burch, you a soldier just like me. You understand what I'm talking about. And we just sat there and talked every Saturday. Some Saturdays he would come down, it'd be me, him, RC, and he would just go to sleep. He would just sleep. But that was his ritual. That was his ritual until he got put in the assisted living. There was him no more and everything. But that was just him. I hang out with a lot of older people. I've been doing it forever. It was me, P.H. White, Mr. Billy Yates, RC, Punk and Proud. I mean, I hung out with a lot of older people. What I didn't realize that I had been doing that my whole life. When I was around Pops in Germany, 87 years old, and I'm like 18, 19 years old, I'm hanging out with an 87-year-old man here. And he's shooting pictures and he's showing me what I need to do and how to master it. I learned a lot. I worked with him in Quebecor. We were pre-press technicians. We were like, at one point, we were like firemen. We were at work, even though we didn't do work, so I would go there and teach myself stuff every night. I would teach myself Photoshop, getting paid for it. And I did that for years until there was no more Quebecor. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot real quick, real fast. A lot of you, like I said, you got these negatives and everything. If you can get your negatives digitized, which you can create books out there that you couldn't even tell if it was shot this year, yesterday, or 50 years ago. It's all gonna be the same. The way you look at the negative and how you interpret the negative, you're in full control of that. That was something that you didn't have back in the day. Back in the day, you would go and shoot a roll of film. You go up there to Walmart, turn it in, you go back the next day to pick it up. And then if it came out good, it was good. But if it didn't come out good, whose fault was it? Was it your fault or was it their fault? And see, that's part of the problem. A lot of times it was Walmart's fault, because depending on the person sitting at the machine printing, is gonna determine how the photographs come out. Because at one time, we had a place called Picture This Photo. I worked there. And I did customized printing for people. I knew what they wanted. And I would sit there and manually adjust each and every one of those frames. They paid a little bit more for it, but they got what they paid for. And a lot of times people don't realize that you're at the mercy of the printer whenever you go turn your negatives in. A lot of times you didn't mess up, but you thought you did because, okay, what did I do wrong? You didn't do any wrong, you just had the wrong person sitting there printing your photographs. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you get them digitized?
Right now, most of it is send out. You gotta send it to New York, most of it. But you got some that's in the Midwest right now, MPix, and a couple of other companies. But B&H, Adorama, all of them still do negatives. They still sell film, and they got pretty quick turnaround. But if you want digital files from it, it's even quicker. Because once it gets there, it'll be online in a couple of hours.
I've got an old negative, little bitty skinny old negative that's a man kneeling in a field in a barn behind him, I think. I'd love to get that redone or get it. in a
It's just
picture.
like these here. These are from these old negatives. You know, but that looks like it could have been shot yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a good picture.
But this is probably 70 years ago, or longer.
Yeah.
So it's,
I thought at one time you said you could take negatives and put them on a scanner and.
that's what I'm gonna get to now. You got several different ways of getting this done. You can take a camera and do what you call a slide duplicator, and you can actually shoot the negative itself, and it'll go straight into the camera and make a digital file for you. And then once you download it, you inverse it in Photoshop, and then you got a positive. So you got what you need there, but you also they got light boxes. You put this little light box down, you put the negative down. This is what this is. This is a copy stand. Believe it or not, it costs $20 from Amazon. You put it together, you put your cell phone on top of it. It even has the little LED lights. You plug it into your computer, it lights it up on the side, and boom, you take the picture with your cell phone. It costs $20. It got the lights and everything right there. I mean, it's cardboard. It's a puzzle. You put your puzzle together, you put your camera on top.
So you just basically take a picture of the negative, basically.
Yes,
And it doesn't matter if it's color, black and white.
it doesn't matter.
How do you, are the cell phones sufficiently capable of taking very highly, pictures with a lot of pixels in them, is what I'm
Yes.
getting at?
Most of the cell phones, especially iPhones, and what's it called? It's the big Android one. Galaxy. All of those series, all of those shoot good pictures. As long as you're not going over 8x10, you're not even going to be able to know that, okay, I shot this on a cell phone. You're not going to know different. I shot one on a cell phone. My father visited me 3 years ago. He hadn't been to Tennessee since 1959. He came to visit. I shot it on the cell phone. I didn't have my big camera out, and I was really disappointed. But it was a great picture. It was myself, my two sons, and my father. Only thing that was missing was my grandson, but it was a really great photograph. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send it in to have a canvas made 16x20, and I'm gonna trust the process. So I went in, I did up-res software that I got called On1. I sent it in, come back, it was perfect. You couldn't even tell that I shot it on a cell phone, and it's on canvas. A lot of people gotta trust the process. A lot of people don't realize that you got settings on your cell phone to where you can set it at the highest setting instead of the lowest setting. A lot of people say, well, I only got 64 gig in this, I'm gonna put it on the low setting. I don't care, I'm gonna put mine on the highest setting. I don't care if I can't get but 100 pictures, it's gonna be 100 great pictures. That's just me. You know, I ran into a problem Sunday. I was at a church organization and I'm shooting 4K video and I only had 64 gigabyte cards in there, and I didn't realize 4K video, 64 gig is nothing. And I only got like an hour and a half, so I had to put another card in to continue the event and everything. But everything is possible. Nothing is impossible anymore. Anybody think it is? I can shoot a picture and put it together and make a composite, and if you can show me where I made the composite, I'm gonna give you $1 million. Cause pictures lie now. Anybody believe a pictures lie? It's all out there right now. I'm just letting you know. You can't believe everything you see. You gotta analyze a lot of things and take it the good with the bad. Cause a lot of the good technology is gonna be used by bad people no matter how you look at it. You just gotta learn to take the good with the bad and just do your part. We got different ways of storing this here. You know, you got jump drives. Jump drives are one of the safest and easiest ways to keep a whole lot of files together. And I'm gonna tell y'all something is you need to stay away from the disc, the DVD disc and the Blu-ray disc. All of those discs are not good permanently unless you buy the good ones that are made for permanent. A lot of people will never buy a permanent disc, not realizing they didn't get the right one. They got disc out there that's good for 200 years. So you can put information on a regular disc, say you go out and buy it at Walmart, 4 or 5 years, you go and stick it off in your CD-ROM drive, and boom, it doesn't work. And then you wonder what happened. And then it's asking you if it needs to be formatted. 4 or 5 years from now, it's gone. It's not gonna be there. Don't trust it. It'd be better, put them on hard drives. Something else that you need to do if you're gonna store it on hard drives is to put it on 2 different hard drives. Something else you need to do as far as keeping the important stuff, put it in 2 different locations, 2 different houses. A lot of times, stupid stuff happen and then all of a sudden it's gone. You can't never get it back. It's like, I learned something that you can't even pay money to go learn. You know, it's like my great-grandmother had the Bible, this big giant Bible at her house. Like I was one of those kids that probably had ADHD or something, probably need Ritalin or something like that, you know. But she always gave me this big giant Bible because it was full of family photographs. So I was intrigued with photographs when I was 3, 4 years old. Always intrigued about photographs. Well, when I was an adult, our house caught fire. And I'm thinking, man, all of those photographs are gone. But guess what? The Bible didn't burn. The whole house burned, but the Bible didn't burn. And guess what was inside the Bible? All of the photographs, the birth certificates, the baptism paperwork, all of that stuff was still in there. My sister still has the Bible right today in Baltimore, Maryland. The Bible didn't burn. But I learned, okay, we're gonna keep the pictures in the Bible for a while now. It really amazed me because I'm like, okay, Regina, where's the Bible? I saw it and I'm looking at it. The outside cover is burned and everything, but the pictures are still in there, untouched, every one of them. And see, I started out getting hooked on pictures really early, not realizing it. And my great uncle, my great grandmother's son, he was ex-military. He was from the Korean War and from the one in Japan in Hawaii, Pearl Harbor. And he was the one that always took photographs at the family reunions and always said, okay, man, he won't let me touch his camera, but I gotta get me one as soon as I join the Army. So as soon as I joined the Army, that's exactly what I did. My first check, you know, back in 1977, it was $400 for the whole month. That's your whole month's salary. And you think back on that now, you know, you make that in a couple hours. But I spent $105 on a camera, and I never looked back. I never looked back, and I just kept expanding on what I was learning, on how I was learning, when and where. And I worked on a NATO site, nuclear weapon site, Class A nuclear weapon, NATO 3.5, Kitzingen, Germany. And I would go in 72-hour cycles underground. I would take 5, 6, 7 photography magazines with me. And that's what I teach myself, because I only worked, in a 24-hour cycle, you worked 4 hours. So I had a lot of downtime in the 72 hours. I learned a lot. Here it is, I got soldiers that I haven't seen in past 40 years now. And I got negatives of them when we were young with hair. And there was no grade. We were running 10 miles a day, you know, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. We were in physical fit. And I took photographs of everything and everybody. And they always saying, why you got this camera all the time? But I'm like, I gotta document where we go, man, what we do. You know, we go to Spain, we go to Switzerland, we go to Kenya, we go to Portugal. We went all over Europe. And I took pictures all over Europe. I wanted to see and remember what I did, how I did it, why I did it, and everything. I never were interested in shooting people for a long time, but I had a very, very beautiful wife, extremely beautiful. Her name was Renita. And we were married for like 6, 7 years. And we had a son. He was 2 years old when she died. She died at age 26. And she died from leukemia. But I would never have shot people if it wasn't for her. Because she had me shooting pictures of her, and then shooting pictures of her friends, and then shooting pictures of the babies of her friends and all. In the military, you know, them guys like to make babies. There was plenty of babies to shoot. So I learned a lot really, really fast. And it really hurt me that she died and she never got to see the success that I did, and that her son is a doctor. He's Dr. Dan Burch III. He works at Baylor University Hospital in Dallas, Texas. And he joined the military at 17 because, hey, Dad, I want to be like you. You know, he was born in Würzburg, Germany, but I didn't want him to be like me. I told him, if you go in the medical field or go in something medical, otherwise I don't want you going. Him being him, he said, okay, Dad, I'll go medical. He went to be a dental assistant, which is low on the totem pole. But he goes there and he excels, and he graduates at the top of his list. And so he said, Dad, the commandant said I can have any school here, to whatever I want. I said, okay, tell him you wanna be a dental hygienist. So he goes to dental hygienist school and he excels, top of his class again. And he gets to Germany, he's stationed where he went to kindergarten.
Oh,
So he's like, okay, Dad, Swiper don't look the same as it was when I was a kid. But his kindergarten teacher was still there, he's happy. Because he was somewhere he knew. Well, he gets out, he said, hey Dad, I'm going to college, I'm gonna go all the way, I'm gonna be a dentist. So he goes to Fisk University, the Army pays for it and everything, cause he got the Army College Fund. He gets his pre-med master's, then he goes to University of Tennessee, Memphis. He leaves there, does great, then he goes to Howard University in Washington, DC. Does his residency there, he leaves there, then he goes to surgical school down at Texas for Baylor University. And that's where he is still today, right now. He works for Baylor University, plus he's a professor there also. And he has a private practice there also. But he always say, hey Dad, I'm coming home, get the big camera out when they're coming. Cause he would always tell his friends, hey Dad is gonna pull out the big camera. He's gonna take pictures of everybody, so don't be alarmed. But all of this is, I'm just telling y'all, a lot of this is simpler than you make it to be. It's a whole lot simpler if you just think it out. Because like say with this here is providing you the light, the box, everything. You put it together, you put the photograph under here, it puts the cell phone here on top. It's providing a light in there. Boom, you take your picture. You're looking at it right here. You're gonna take your picture, boom, then you're gonna upload it to wherever you wanna upload it to, or else you can use your tablet to do the same thing. Cause a lot of the tablets, they got Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom for the iPhone and for the tablets. A lot of this stuff can be done with just simple apps now and a cell phone. You don't have to go out buy anything expensive, go get a copy stand or any of that stuff. You don't even have to have an expensive computer any longer. A lot of stuff is really, yes.
I want to ask another question. You have all those negatives there,
Mhm.
and I always thought, and I know this was a long time ago too, growing up, that negatives had to be kept in the dark.
Nope.
I always
And
thought
you don't
that.
have them in the dark, and so are they?
Always heard.
No,
Losing.
once they're developed and they were stored in acid-free, that's the whole key, acid-free.
Oh, okay, so they've got to be stored in acid-free, and then they don't have to be in dark. But they do.
If it's not developed, they do. If it's not developed, it can't have any light of any type.
Well, a negative's not gonna be developed.
No, these are developed negatives.
Oh,
That's how you will put them in an enlarger. It will enlarge on the paper. You put it in your chemicals. You put it in the developer, stop bath, and then to the other stuff to fix it, the fixer, and then you rinse it off and hang it up to dry.
I think she's talking about the negative that's still in the camera.
Oh, you're talking about a raw, film.
It's not.
It is, that's why it's in a black
That's
case,
raw
I think.
exposed.
It can't be exposed to light at all,
No,
except maybe red light.
no, well, in the
Some red lights.
some of it is safe, but it just depends on what ISO it is.
what about the negatives that, were not the ones that are in the roll, like we used to have the roll, but, like if you send it to Kodak, okay, and it comes back to you, and you have film that's
Mhm.
developed, and then you have your negatives. So what about those?
The negatives are already fixed. They're
Yeah.
permanent. They're
Yeah,
fixed
light
permanent.
won't hurt them.
Light
Okay.
will not hurt those. Light will hurt them if you just lay them out and let them oxidize. That's why you would store, these here have books, I got books. And I got about 70, 80 books of nothing but negatives. Nothing but negatives. Like, for example, for Dyersburg Memories, I put over 8,800 images on Dyersburg Memories. And like, this is part of the Dyersburg Memories series. You know, this is New Bern, this is the train station. But these are from negatives that was from 70 years ago. And they're just big negatives like this. All I did was digitize them, scan it, put it back in the envelope, label it that I got it archived, and then upload it to my website for safe storage, and then I upload it to Dyersburg Memory for everybody to enjoy. Because here's what's happening right now. You have a lot of old photographs, a lot of old negatives, a lot of good sources of information pertaining to family members that people don't forgot about. People will start passing off, and then all of a sudden you got books, you got pictures, I've gone to estate sales, for example, and there'll be this big frame, beautiful frame, but it's got a family member in it. Then they sell it to me for $3. Why? I'm like, who is it? It's gotta be somebody important, because this was an expensive frame. It was a very expensive frame, so it's a lot of that happening right now.
Yes, and that bothers me too.
Cause I know one day I'm gonna be dead and gone and everything, and somebody from probably my family is gonna give away my collection of cameras. They're gonna give away all of my beer steins from Germany. I mean, all of that stuff that I collected. I got porcelain I got from Czechoslovakia, from Prague. I got tea sets. I ain't never used them, but I bought them while I was over there. I got lead crystal. Had never put alcohol in any of those flasks. None of that stuff, but it was mine. It's mine, you know, but I know sooner or later it's not going, they just gonna give it away. But I just don't want nobody giving away your pictures, you know, because it's really important y'all pass that information on.
Yes.
It's really, really important that it's shared with the younger generation so they know who it is. And cause what I started doing with my family, I started making mugs with the names and the dates on it. I started making porcelain plates with the names and the dates on it. This is my great Mama Belle. This is my grandmother, Mama Cora. And I got dates on it. Mama Cora's sister name is Sini. She's 98 years old. She's still kicking right now. Got good sound mind and body and everything. She's 98. My grandmother is 96. They're in the same place. My grandmother she needed assisted living, but my great aunt didn't. Her sister, she just went and turned herself in and said, hey, I want to be here with Cora. She want to be with somebody she know. They live right next door to each other in apartments. So she said, hey, I just want a room up here by my sister. And my Aunt Cindy ain't never gonna die. It's just, she just, and she knows everything and don't go anywhere. She can tell you what's going on in the neighborhood, but pictures, guys, I'm just trying to emphasize how important it is to pass on the information with the photographs so you know who it is. And I used to sit down with my kids and say, okay, this is your granddaddy, this is CP Nance. And I would sit there and pass on all this information so they know who it is. And then I started putting stickers on the back of the pictures as I put them up on the wall. Now I started making these porcelain pieces. I don't want them to realize, okay, who are all of these people? So sooner or later, I just hopefully somebody will fight over who's getting what. Cause
That's smart, because when they get older one day, they'll want to know what that information is, just
Exactly.
like me. I'm trying to look at pictures to decipher, is this who that is in that picture? Remember I sent you some, and I don't even know how to tell if it's the same person. Some you can't, some you can tell that it's like, maybe that from an old picture to a young picture. But what you're doing is very important so that they know.
See, like I use flatbed scanners, and plus I got a dedicated 35 millimeter one, but all of that stuff is for different size negatives and everything. Everything it's not that expensive, people. I'm just trying to make you understand it's not as expensive as you think it is. You can buy a little light box that's about this size right here that put AA batteries in it. Set it down inside this here, put the negative down on top of it, put your cell phone on top, shoot it, manipulate it in the application that you're gonna use to manipulate it in, and you got a file. And you got a file. Right now, they got stuff out there that's AI just gonna take over, so y'all might as well embrace it. It's coming.
What'd you say it was?
AI.
Oh, yeah.
Artificial intelligence is coming, it's gonna
already
take
here.
over, and it's gonna do a whole lot of stuff for you though. So just embrace it. Don't look down on it. Just say, okay, I'm gonna try it. If it works out, it works out, because I quit buying backdrops. I don't need backdrops. I shoot a photograph, they tell me what type of backdrop they want, boom. AI puts it in, it colors it, the bright colors that need to be, everything. Christmas scene, I just shot a family of 3, the mother, daughter on each side. They're in their little pajamas and stuff, they're on the floor. And then in behind them, they got Christmas trees, and they show them laying on snow or something, whatever they want. AI gonna give it to me, I'm gonna give it to them too. I'm just telling you, just embrace it. Cause it's coming, it's not gonna change, it's only gonna get worse. And I'm not saying worse in a bad way, it's just gonna keep coming. It's gonna keep coming. But I really, really can't emphasize enough of passing on the information to the younger generation, because one day, if you don't, they're gonna throw this stuff away. And somebody needs to know. Somebody really, really needs to know. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one of the thrills is to do genealogy and make contact somewhere else in the country and discover they've got a picture and you've got a copy of the same picture.
I'm gonna tell you that happened. My father wanted to go visit his sister in Elizabethtown, North Carolina. So I said, okay, Dad, look, take the train from Baltimore to Amtrak. I'm gonna pick you up in Fayetteville. So I went and picked him up. We went to this relative's house in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We get to the house, and I got a picture of my great-great-grandfather and his wife. My great-great-grandfather was 27 years old and his wife was 14. So I got a picture of them. And I'm looking at I get in the house and they got the same picture up on the wall. So, cause we were doing a genealogy thing, trying to figure out, okay, where did the Burch name come from? Kind of find out, my last name shouldn't even be Burch. My great-great-grandfather's last name was Jones, Joines. He was a bootlegger. He was selling moonshine in Lee County, South Carolina, a town called Bishopville. Well, police was trying to catch him, so he moved about 3 or 4 counties over. My great-great-grandmother's last name was Burch. He changed his last name from Jones to Burch. So we were doing the linkage and everything, it looked like a Burch married a Burch, but it wasn't that way. He just changed his name. And it's just sort of weird how I go to the Jones house and the Jones got a picture of the Burches. But it wasn't a Burch, it was a Jones. But it's just like what you just said, you know, one way over there, one way over here, and it's the same thing. But
That contact started with the kid match. Yeah. Never didn't know anything about the people. So it looked like it was related, and then sure enough, and they had pictures, and they would identify who they thought people were. Weren't necessarily the right people, but we knew who the people in our picture were, and we had matching pictures.
and
You
see,
helped solve the puzzle for them, didn't you? You helped solve a puzzle for them if they were wanting names or.
Yeah.
And see, somehow I've lucked out to have a father that's got good genetics with good memory. He's 82. He's just like me. He's healthy. He gets around well. He's still driving the whole 9 yards, and he can tell you anything. And he can tell you anything as far back as when he was like 5, 6 years old. And it's just, and as he passes it on, I pass it on too. And if you have photographs, I pass it on. And it's just something that we gotta do in everything. And the younger generation, you gotta sort of trick them into getting the information that you really need to give them. You know, like I would have my grandson come help me do some stuff and not realizing I'm tricking him into figuring it all out, who the family members are. So he knows, and he really knows because I done drilled it in him, but I had to trick him. I might have to spend a few dollars, but I'd rather spend a few dollars and he know than him not know it all.
Do you ever write on the backs of your photographs,
I put stickers on there and write on it who it is.
like a sticky note type thing?
Yes.
What do you think about the archival pins?
Those are good,
Okay.
because those are acid free.
Uh-huh.
And it's on the back of it anyway, so it's not gonna affect the front of it. It's the front of it that's the biggest problem. A lot of people, whenever they frame photographs, for example, if you get the matting and you say go up a 1/4 inch all the way around it where it's not touching the glass, that's the best. Because what happened is the photograph heats up, photograph cools down, heats up, cools down, and then all of a sudden it's got waves. But if it don't ever touch the glass, it's gonna be good. The picture will last a good long time. If you put it in there and you don't mat it, it's gonna give you some problems in about 5 years. Because it's gonna touch the glass, it's gonna stick to it, and then all of a sudden they're gonna bring it down to me and say, hey, could you scan this for me and make me a new file? And I've scanned through glass before, and it works. It took me a few times to figure it out, but it works. The last thing you wanna do is have the glass against the picture itself.
What about, you know, these, certificates or diplomas or whatever you wanna call it from it's a hospital type of medical
Mhm.
thing. And I think it's onion skin or something. I don't know what it is, some kind of skin.
Yeah,
And it is behind glass and it has shrunk, it has waves. What do you do about that?
you really need to get it out and have it mounted on a board. They have these
Mounting boards.
mounting boards that it'll stick and it'll stay flat forever.
Oh, you gotta wet it, I guess, you gotta do something.
No, they know how to do it.
They who?
The framers. Take
Yeah.
it to a framer, they will get that done for you. It will fix it. That will resolve the whole problem.
Okay.
How much is a restoration like that you would do if I brought you an old picture that, to get it bigger, do
It
you do
depends
that?
on, it depends on how much work that you gotta put into it. It could be anywhere from $15 to $20.
I'll send it to you.
But I guarantee it'll be right. Cause my deal is, I want it to be right. I don't want it leaving and it not be right and my name is on it.
Could you do that, negative that I have?
I could do the negative, I can do the templates, I can do the photographs.
Yay, yay.
There's
So do you
hard,
have a
I didn't
shop
know you were
somewhere?
here.
yes,
Where is it?
at Parker Plaza, right next door to Miller Properties.
I've been wanting this done a long time.
I'm new to the area, so I'm not sure what that is.
It's on Highway 51 down the street from the Sonic.
The Sonic on the west side.
Yeah, I know where Parker Plaza is,
And
yeah.
another thing,
He's in another place.
Burch, you may want to tell them, is these fluorescent lights will fade a lot of your pictures and prints.
Yeah, but the tungsten lights are worse than
True.
the fluorescent lights. The tungsten lights are one of the worst lights out there right now.
You can buy UV glass, I don't know how much it is, but I was looking at that.
And see, in that one time, they used to have UV spray, where they would spray it with this UV spray before putting it in the frame, and it helped a lot. And, but here's what's good about, like, this is what you call a dye sublimation print. I can go and put this out there in the road, in the rain, I can put it in a bucket of water, and guess what's gonna happen?
Ink's gonna come off.
No, nothing.
Oh, really?
Nothing. Nothing. This is permanent. It's permanent. It'll outlive all of us.
So that's what the photos are now that we get printed like that?
Well, no, that's the
That's
type I
special.
use.
Oh.
That's the type I use. But anybody can use this now. But it's called dye sublimation. It has a 3-color process with a coating, with a UV coating on top.
Oh.
You can set this in the window, in the sunlight. It ain't gonna fade. It's not gonna do anything. I can put it in the water. It's not gonna fade. It's permanent. And that's what's so good about you don't have to store it in no special book or acid-free or any of that. It's gonna be good.
I wanna come see you. I got some pictures I've been wanting done.
Anybody else got any other questions?